Hi, my name's Tim Johnson. This is not the video that I was planning to make today, so I'm sorry if it's a bit rambly. But I talk a lot on this channel about us possessing three brains, and the two that we should listen to most are our gut and our heart. And they were both singing to me today to make this video. And the theme of the last few videos, and the one that was going to be today, was about the lessons that we can learn from the past, from ancient civilizations, and going back to the caveman days. And because we've evolved so far away from that and become disconnected from it, we've made ourselves sick in every way. And that was the theme of today's. It was going to be diet and exercise. However, a few days ago in the village, I bumped into someone. I live in a village in Spain, a small village. Bumped into someone who's a friend of mine, who told me that a very old lady in the village, a British lady, who, much to my shame, I didn't even know existed in the village, had passed away. Now, this lady had a long and interesting backstory, and I'm certainly not going to name her on here or anything like that, but she actually drank herself to death. She had no relatives, no friends as such. There was a neighbour apparently who used to pop in and get her food for her and try and make sure that she ate. She lived in absolute squalor and basically, as I say, on her own, extremely lonely, drank herself to death. And it really upset me, and for a few days. And again, to my shame, I didn't even know this lady existed. I would not be arrogant enough to think that I could have changed anything as such, but I certainly would have made an attempt to perhaps give her some company. And it put me in mind of a song, and also how I could link it to the theme of the videos that I've been making recently. And the song that came to mind, and it was one of my favourites in the 1980s, and if you haven't listened to this song, listen to it and listen to the lyrics extremely carefully. It's a song by Squeeze, and it's called Labelled with Love. And it tells a story of a very old lady who is slowly drinking herself to death. Lives on her own, no friends, no relations, living in squalor. There's a real parallel to the story I heard in the village. But the thing is, what people don't realise, and the song tells this story, it's that she's lived an extremely interesting, rich, fascinating life. And that she'd gone through the war, Second World War, and she'd met an American soldier and fallen in love with him, and gone to live in Texas. And the song story tells the story of the fact that this Texan guy was a massive drinker, and she has to then make the decision to either become a drinker or a mother to him. And she becomes a mother to him and looks after him while he sort of drinks himself to death. And they live on a ranch in Texas, and she finds him dead on the porch one day. Comes back to her own country. And one of the lyrics says she comes back to no friends or relations, back to a world full of age reservations, which is the title of this video. She has nothing, no friends, just her memories to keep her company. And she starts to drink, starts to become the person he was, and basically starts to drink herself to death. And the song starts with, as she unscrews the top of a new whiskey bottle, settles on down in her candlelit hovel. Like some kind of witch with blue fingers in mittens, she smells like a cat, and the neighbours she sickens. So no one will come near her, and she dies eventually a very sad and lonely death. But the point of this video, without wanting to depress you any more than I probably already have, and how do I link it to the videos that I've been making about learning, is that in Eastern cultures and in ancient tribal cultures, going right back to the cavemen, which is what I've been talking about, we've evolved to to be these tribal communities looking after each other. And age is revered. Age is considered to be an honour, and the people in the village who achieve old age become like leaders and teachers and sort of wizards, if you like, and respected. And the elders become the people that the villagers or the tribes would go to for advice, to learn, for healing, for them to pass on the messages and the stories of their life. And in the West, we've broken away from that. We've gone away from that. And particularly, it's not so bad here in Spain because there's still a culture where old people are at the head of the table and are included. And they, because of the climate as well, they get out and move themselves and appear a lot younger, if you like. They're outside a lot more and exercising a lot more. And because, you know, it's inevitable that we grow old, but we don't have to be old. And that's the sort of theme of life over here. They look after themselves. In Eastern cultures, in particular, still there's this respect there of elders, and they become the head of the families and are revered and respected and become teachers. But here, you know, in the West, particularly, and I know in Britain this happens because I've seen it so many times, age becomes an inconvenience, and elderly people are forgotten in a lot of cases, left to live an extremely lonely existence, pushed away into homes sometimes. Now, I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush because some families obviously care a lot for their elderly relatives, and you know, but in general, age is considered to be an inconvenience, and we don't think of elderly people as teachers. But you can learn so much. The man I learnt more than anything from in my life, because I never had a father figure. My father, for those who don't know my story, left when I was about 5 years old, and I was pleased he went for lots of reasons. But the man I learnt from most was my great-grandfather, who lived till he was 96 years old. Now, there was a man who, until he was 95, he had a fall at 95, broke his hip, died of pneumonia, tragically. But he taught me more than any other man I've ever known about everything. He told me stories because he'd lived, he'd experienced life, he'd learned, he became a teacher. He passed on those experiences, those valuable life lessons that only people who've experienced and lived can pass on. And this is the message I just want to get across from this video. Age should not be considered as a handicap. And I know it, I mean, even in my early 50s, when I was looking for work over in Britain, it was almost impossible to get a job, you know, as soon as you mention that you're in your 50s even, which is young, isn't it? 50s these days, you know, you become sort of back of the pile, if you like. It's an inconvenience, a handicap. Whereas intelligent cultures and past cultures would always see it as an advantage. And people would go to learn. So please, if you bear all this in mind, and if you agree with it, and if you know anybody, you know, any elderly people who are living on their own and who are lonely, and perhaps could do with someone just popping in and having a cup of tea and a chat with them, you'll be amazed at what you'll learn from them. Not what you can give them, but what they can give you as well. What they can give you back, that life knowledge, that wisdom that only comes with old age. So there you go. That's the message from this video. Take care. Carpe Diem. Seize the day today. Please subscribe. Please like. Please share the videos if they're helping you. Much love to you. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.